Oh, hello there beautiful humans, my name is RidersDX and welcome to Late Night Riders, the one talk show that takes place in a bedroom. Apologies for the weird start, but today we're talking about remastered trilogies, and I wanted to show off a trilogy that consisted of Super Mario Galaxy 2, Sonic 06, and Just Dance 2017. But they won't stick together, why must life be so hard? We've seen quite the influx of them, whether it be your average Joe of a game publisher cashing in on nostalgia, or Nintendo taking away every reason to get a Wii U. One common thing we've seen though is remastered trilogies. For some reason, the human race has always had a fascination with the number 3, and that fascination has certainly enveloped itself in numerous trilogies of various media, including video games. So it makes sense some of these trilogies are brought back into the spotlight through the form of remasters. In fact, we've recently seen the release of Super Mario 3D All-Stars, which is a remastered collection of Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy. While we've had tons of great remasters and remakes come our way, I'd be lying if I said that my greedy little ass didn't want to see more remasters come my way. So here are 10 remastered trilogies that I would love to see. At number 10, I would love to see a Sonic Boost Games trilogy, and so this collection would consist of Sonic Unleashed, Sonic Colors, and Sonic Generations. These are really solid games overall. Say what you want about the Werehog and Sonic Unleashed, but otherwise, it was a really great adventure, and Sonic Colors and Sonic Generations only took that gameplay and made it even better. These games still hold up really well in today's climate, and the games still look great, so it really wouldn't take much effort to get these games going. I just think if Sega is gonna be pivoting away from this kind of gameplay style, which I kind of suspect they're gonna do with the next Sonic game, it'd be nice to have a collection of these games on modern consoles, especially the Nintendo Switch, so we can kind of like go back and reminisce about just how great the Boost gameplay was for this franchise. Because coming after Sonic 06, it's no surprise that the Sonic franchise was in such a rut and really needed something to kind of like bring itself back up. The Boost gameplay style, while I have some issues with it, it definitely was a great positive spot in the Sonic franchise, and it'd be great to relive those games in remastered form. I think if they wanted to add anything to this collection, it'd be really cool to have a multiplayer mode actually. There's a great nostalgia that I have for the races that I did in Sonic Adventure 2 and Sonic Heroes when I was a kid with my brother. It'd be great to kind of have something similar with the Boost gameplay. So I saw this actually like a week ago and I thought, this would be a really cool idea, but I would love to see a Paper Mario trilogy of the first 3 Paper Mario games. While Super Paper Mario is a little bit different from the first 2 games, I think all these games are tied really well together based on their narrative, and it kind of represents a real golden age of Paper Mario before things kind of went to you know what. I just love the narrative styles of the original Paper Mario games so much. It was really unique and it put Mario in places that you've never seen Mario in before, and I love that Paper Mario is one of the only franchises within the Mario series that had the guts to do that and was so successful with it too. I mean, you see the thousands of videos on how great the original 2 games were, for instance, and Super Paper Mario even is up there in terms of the plot as well, even if there's some mixed feelings about the gameplay itself. And so especially with the success of the Origami King, I think it'd be a really cool idea for Nintendo to port these 3 games together and put them on the Switch. You know, you really don't need to do much to them either, because the great thing about these games is that they're 2D drawn, so there's really not much that needs to be done in terms of remastering the graphics to make them look decent. I feel like the most work would definitely have to go into the original Paper Mario, as that game definitely has aged a bit in terms of its looks, but if you port it like the Thousand Year Door and Super Paper Mario as is and did like nothing to it, I think that'd be fine actually. At number 8, I would love to see the Mass Effect trilogy, and so this is a franchise I don't think I've ever talked about on this channel before, but the Mass Effect games are actually some of my favorite games that I played when I was a teenager. I just remember falling in love with the narrative and the universe of Mass Effect. There was nothing really quite like it at the time when the games came out. You know, just having like this entire universe to scavenge through and being able to make your own decisions in directing the politics of an entire universe. And I don't know, I just love the characters of Mass Effect. I love the locations. I love the storyline. It was just such an experience to take in. I think a remastered trilogy has actually been rumored for quite a while now. A collection of the 3 games did come out on the same generation that it was released on, but there's actually been a lot of rumors about a remastered trilogy coming out to modern consoles, and so if there's any truth to those rumors, I would love to see it. I think having these 3 games on my Switch in particular would be really cool. I don't really see how it could be done, but I'm looking forward to seeing how they try to do it. But looking back on these games now, they hold up really well, and I just think it'd be great to relive the storytelling, because even thinking now, I think there was a bunch of stuff I still missed out on despite playing the games 2 or 3 times when I was a kid. It was just such a vast universe. It'd be really cool to relive through them. But yeah, I would love to see the Mass Effect that games come back. At number 7, this is a series of games that I've actually never played before, and that is the Rayman games. And so I would love to see the Rayman trilogy actually get remade and put onto modern consoles. I don't think there's been a Rayman game in a long time, and I've actually seen a lot of posts on Twitter and such about how Ubisoft is actually really crappy about acknowledging the Rayman franchise, which is a real shame. I think my first exposure to the Rayman games was actually when I bought Rayman Raving Rabbids. I think it was just something that came with the Wii when I got it, and I remember having a lot of fun with that game. Obviously, it was not a traditional Rayman game, but I remember liking the character. I remember liking the Rabbids as well. I'm not gonna lie, I was a big Rabbids fan when they were still hot, but it's kind of tragic to kind of think about the fact that because of the Rabbids franchise, it basically equated into the death of the Rayman series, because yeah, the series has just been so dormant for who knows how long now, and it's just such a shame because it is a platformer, and I'm really all for platformers, and I love to see platformers take over the gaming industry again, and we've definitely seen a bit of an upsurge in that with Crash and Spyro in particular. So I think a Rayman remake of the 3 games would be really awesome, and I've actually saw this fan game, which is a remake of the very first game, and it looks gorgeous. Like, that game is so beautiful, and it definitely got me interested in the Rayman series, and I definitely have to make sure I try that out one day. At number 6, so this probably isn't gonna happen, but man, my heart would die if it actually did happen. But I would love to see the SpongeBob Heavy Iron Studios games be ported to modern consoles as a trilogy in a remastered collection. Now, I know we already got Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated, and while I love that game and it's a lot of fun and the game just looks great, there's something about the original that's always going to stick out to me. I love how the original feels. I love how it looks. There's so much nostalgia that's in there for me. Sometimes I find myself going back to the original just because I prefer how that game feels compared to Rehydrated, because Rehydrated does such a great job of recreating the game and recreating the mechanics, but there's just something about the feel of the original that's always going to take me back to when I was a kid and playing that day in and day out and just falling in love with that game every single time I played it. I would love to see just the original game get ported over along with the movie game and Truth or Square. I think these are 3 really solid SpongeBob games. I know Truth or Square gets shat on a lot, but I went back to it I think like a year or 2 ago and I thoroughly enjoyed myself. It's not as good as Battle for Bikini Bottom, the movie game obviously, but the game itself is still very solid and a really nice effort from Heavy Iron Studios given the conditions they were probably put under in making that game. These are 3 really iconic SpongeBob games, and Heavy Iron Studios is one of my favorite developers ever, and so it'd just be really cool to see their legacy get celebrated in this way. And I know THQ Nordic is looking to do other things with the Nickelodeon licenses because they have all those licenses and they've only done one thing so far with them, so here's another idea for you right there. And number 5, you know what? Let's give THQ Nordic another idea. Let's port all the Nicktoons games in a collection. I know that this is not really a trilogy, it's actually 4 games, but you know what? F it. I would love to see a remastered collection of the 4 Nicktoons games. The reason that I want to see this is not really because of the gameplay actually, because if I'm being completely honest, I don't really find the Nicktoons games to be that fun. It's definitely something that's aged for me personally. However, I miss all the cartoons in them. I miss Danny Phantom, I miss the Fairly Odd Parents, I miss Jimmy Neutron. I love all these cartoons, and there's really no other way that these cartoons would be represented in like a modern age otherwise. I mean, I think it'd just be such a nice trip down nostalgia lane to just see all those different Nicktoons come back in a remastered collection, and there's really not much you need to do. I think if there's something that they really want to do to enhance the port, it'd be to like give more multiplayer options, like even give online. I think that'd be such a cool idea, you know, get to play online co-op with all your favorite friends, and I think it'd be a great way to introduce like kids to the old Nicktoons that we know are the best. At number 4, I would love to see the Tasmanian Tiger, the trilogy, get remade or remastered to a collection. And so I actually made a couple of videos on the Tasmanian Tiger in the past, but I haven't actually really played through any of the games. I did play like a little bit of the first game through the GameCube, and I thought it was a fine game. I still have to kind of go through it to really see if it's something I really like or not. But the really cool thing about the Tasmanian Tiger is that I think this is actually already happening. I think that they're planning to remaster all the games because the first one has already been remastered and released to all different kinds of consoles. The Tasmanian Tiger seems like a pretty well-loved collectathon platformer, and you know me, I love platformers. I love to see more of them just kind of like come back and really just make it a platformer takeover, kind of like when I was a kid. It's just such a big fan base for these games. That's why the Kickstarter for the first remaster did so well. I think it'd be really cool to, once all these games get remastered, to just put them in one little collection and try to sell it off, and who knows, maybe it could lead to a brand new game in the future, and that'd be really cool. At number 3, I would love to see the Jak and Daxter games get remade or remastered into into a trilogy package. And so this has kind of already happened technically. There is a Jak and Daxter remastered package that's on the PS3, I think, but I think this would be a good time to actually remake the games now and bring them to the PS5, because it was always kind of sad to me how Ratchet and Clank continued to just thrive in the Sony world, and then Jak and Daxter just kind of like were gone. I actually first played Jak and Daxter in a dentist's office. I know it's really weird, but my brother had to get braces for the longest time, and I had to be dragged over to all of his appointments every time he had to go in. And every time I went in, there was a set of TV screens in the waiting room. One of them worked, and it was a PS2, and it had only Jak and Daxter on there. And so every time I went to the dentist, I would always be playing Jak and Daxter over there, and I just remember having so much fun with it. I couldn't hear any sound, and the picture was black and white, so it was like the most retro TV screen ever. I bought the game on the PS4 recently, and I played through a little of it, and it kind of seems like an extension of Crash N Sane actually. Like, it just feels very similar in terms of the levels and environments and the movement. And so I'm really looking forward to playing more of it and really getting to finish a game that I started so many years ago and just never finished because, well, I never had a PS2, so it was never gonna happen. But yeah, I would love to see Jak and Daxter come back. There was always a certain charm to the franchise, and it'd just be really great to see another platforming franchise come back in that regard. And number 2, oh gosh, this one has had so many requests that I'm actually really shocked that it's not happened yet. But here we go. I would love to see the Banjo-Kazooie games get remade and released on current platforms. Now, you don't need me to explain why Banjo-Kazooie would be a good idea to remake. I mean, there's been so many different calls for it, there's so many Twitter campaigns for it. It was powerful enough to get Banjo-Kazooie into Smash Brothers. I don't need to remind you how epic that reaction was in seeing Banjo-Kazooie in Smash. It's just like the stars have all aligned for the Bird and Bear duo to come back, and I actually played through pretty much almost all the first game, and I loved it. It was so much fun, and I definitely want to get into the second game really soon. But for some reason, Microsoft still has not done anything yet, and I don't know if it's because they have something planned and it's taking a lot of time, or they just don't see the value in it. And that's really sad if it's the latter one, because this is about as obvious as you can get in terms of this is a franchise that needs to be remade and milked the hell out of in terms of profits. Like, come on, it's right there in your face. But yeah, Banjo-Kazooie has had a huge impact on a lot of the games that I played when I was a kid. I'm pretty sure it had a huge impact on Battlefield Bikini Bomb, for instance. There's just so many parallels I saw between those two games. And so I think a collection could have like Banjo-Kazooie, Banjo-Tooie, and either Grunty's Revenge or Nuts and Bolts, or even both of them. I feel like Grunty's Revenge would be better because that's a little bit more of a relic, and so it'd be really cool to kind of see that. And number 1, the one collection I want to see most out of any collection in terms of trilogies, I would love to see the Sonic the Hedgehog Dreamcast era remade into a new collection. Anyone that's followed me for a while now kind of saw this coming. I love Sonic, and my favorite Sonic games of all time are the Adventure era games, and so I love Sonic Adventure, I love Sonic Adventure 2, I love Sonic Heroes. To see them remade or remastered and ported onto modern consoles would be a dream come true. I mean, there's been such a big outcry in the Sonic fan base for Sonic Adventure to get remade. It's probably gonna happen. I mean, we've had actual comments from Mizuka saying that he'd like to revisit it, so who knows? Whether that be like a brand new game or remake remains to be seen. But you know, just seeing these games come back and be ported to modern consoles would be such an awesome thing. I know Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2 are pretty likely, but Sonic Heroes, we probably can count that out. I just don't see as much of a desire to see Sonic Heroes come back. Sonic Heroes is my first Sonic game and also my favorite Sonic game, and so I would love to see that come back. But I understand if they didn't want to bother with that one, especially if they're remaking them, because I think remaking Sonic Adventure, Sonic Adventure 2 alone would be just a huge task to take on, and Sonic Heroes would just kind of be a waste of time in comparison. So that's my thoughts about it. You know, I just want every single game I've ever played to be on a Switch. Is that too much to ask for? But oh my gosh, that's pretty much everything. And I don't know if you can see, but I'm actually kind of sweating, so I'm gonna wrap this video up really quickly because I need to get into the air conditioner. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What kind of remastered trilogies would you love to see? Let me know if there are any that I mentioned that you really want to see, or there's any that I didn't mention that you want to see. I would love to read your thoughts, and just yeah, thank you so much. But before I go, I actually have 3 more trilogies I would love to see, so better buckle your seatbelts because these are really major. Shrek Re-Ogred, Madagascar Recaptured, and Sonic the Dark Age. Thank you so much for watching this video. Special shout out to the Nerd Corner, Killer Lemurs, Team Right with Sonic Gamers, Johnny Hinton Ortiz, Trash Q, Abraham Muner, and Mass Muner. These are my patrons/YouTube members. If you'd like to become a patron or YouTube member and get access to a whole bunch of different perks, then please check out the links in the description box below. But alright, this is Riders, riding out.